Hi guys. Um, Here is another journal I want to share with you. And I wanted to film it before it goes to its new home. um, this is my crazy stitching fabric covered collaged color cover everything journal. So here I have some knit fabric in this kind of military green color and some vintage pieces of lace here with some viscose fabric. And here's this is a leaf that I just cut like freeform from a piece of woolly type of fabric. And yeah, I'm just trying to see if you can see well, but I'm not really sure because it's very cloudy outside. Then underneath the leaf there's a collage of different fabrics. This is vintage lace trim here and some viscose, and this is linen fabric and that knit fabric, and all kinds of things just layered. And then I stitched over the leaf also, like it has real those things. I don't know what's that called. Then here is just a little cluster of charms on a safety pin that can be moved from place to place, or the lady who bought this journal could just add them to wherever she wants. And there's a little leaf, of course, to reflect this big one, and a button. This is a teardrop kind of crystal, well, it's plastic bead, but it's lovely bead. And this lovely little feather. It has 3 signatures, and this closure is also that knit fabric. It frays a bit, but it will stop. And on the inside I left it plain, just because I like it. And then you can see all the crazy stitching, and I love that. Here is just a paper clip. This folds out, and I will try not to go into every single detail because my videos take like forever to upload. And this is an old postcard, and it's a painting of Monet, Claude Monet, a lady in the garden, and I just thought that goes really well with this journal. This is vintage paper, my onion dyed paper. This is vintage cardstock, some parchment paper that I tea dyed or coffee dyed, I don't really remember. Some recycled kind of a notebook paper. This is also vintage cardstock. And here wait a second, it's catching on this thread. Okay, I have this tag journaling card actually that I made out of some eco-dyed vintage paper, and then I distressed it with some ink, and here's the back. And this cardstocky paper is also vintage. It's not that you can really see that, but I know it is. This page, I just made it look, like distressed and crazy. This is a piece of silk, and I just love this motif. And then I just added quite a bit of golden acrylic paint around it, and it looks really nice, because I love to have really different pages in my journals, and as artistically done as possible. Well, this is not like Picasso type of art, but you know what I mean. I want them to be completely unique. Anyway, tea-dyed vintage or very old paper. My Well, this was dyed with tea and some metal pieces. So I guess it's tea dyed. Another tea or coffee dyed page. I just added this really soft yarn on the centers of the signatures. I just added these little tags that are actually made out of vintage cardstock, but some nice print or staining there. Just a little embellishment there. Onion paper, vintage cardstock. Yeah, and that's the same as the first part. Sorry, I keep going out of frame. Yeah, this is also some vintage paper that I put two sheets together and then I stitched all around on my sewing machine, and then added just some fibers and a little heart there, and stamped, of course. Onion paper, vintage, another handmade tag or journaling card, very heavily distressed, and some die cut leaves here. Then the same parchment, coffee dyeing, Rico dyeing, and here's a little handmade envelope I stamped on this side and distressed all around, and here's some stamping also. And then on the inside there's this folded card. This is also vintage cardstock, and it's really naturally, distressed and aged, and I just stamped these flowers. I didn't want to add anything else to it. And this is just an old well, I don't know what to call this, kind of receipt type of thing. It's from 1996, but it's old, and it has this lovely green part here, so I thought, why not? And you can write on the back very nicely, so that just adds some interest to the journal. This page is from a vintage book. This is another little handmade card with some cool coffee dyed paper and stamping. Coffee dyed paper, this is my handmade paper, and I backed it with some vintage paper and just added some flowers and inked all around. This is another handmade tag out of vintage papers. This is also vintage paper and some ruffled cotton fabric, and this Tim Holtz dye butterfly with some threads there for more texture. And of course this is recycled. This was a lovely gift bag that I just wanted to use for embellishing rather than giving it to someone. Just some stamping on the edge. Here is another heavily distressed little tag or a card with this lovely stamp. This opens up, but it's held down with this paper clip. More vintage papers. This is another tag that I've cut from vintage cardstocky paper, and this is a lovely vintage postcard. It says Prospect Gardens, Harrogate, and it's from 1959. I hope I said that correctly, Harrogate, or I'm sorry if I didn't. These papers, you might see them more, or you might seen them before in some of my journals. I found them like this, and these were actually, I didn't know at the beginning what this was, but then I was told by some smart people that these were kind of like some type of stamps that, you know, were used to make patterns for some needlework. And I actually have a whole bag of those stamps. I don't know how to call them, but these are they are great, really great vintage. Another, you know, tag made out of handmade and vintage paper, and again a little bit of stamping here. This is heat embossed, and that's just I mean, the book page underneath is the bottom of a paper bag that I make out of vintage book pages. And I love this stamp. It's really beautiful. This is also vintage ledger, and I actually dipped it in some tea, and then some of the writing, you know, went from one piece to the other, and I think it's really cool. Middle of the signature again with a tag. More papers, tea-dyed, eco-dyed, vintage, mostly vintage. This is that bag, you know, the opened part. And this sleeve is it? No. Yeah, it is. Wait, I don't even know what I did. Yeah, it's a tuck spot. Okay, maybe a little, alright. Yay! And another handmade card, and it's vintage paper, of course. Let's leave that there. And this is just a piece of lovely green cardstock that I punched and heat embossed. So that goes there. Well, yeah, like this. And more of onion paper, vintage cardstock, another handmade card. And I stamped these little vines, like, you know, like lines where you can write on. It just looks cute. And here's the back. This is a pocket. I added this vintage trim here, just a little embellishment with some yarn. And then there are two tags. This one, I love these stamps. Okay, grammar. My dear friend Mary sent them to me, and these are backed with some vintage papers. And so the whole journal is just, you know, full of vintage stuff, but still it's let me try and zoom in. Whoops, that's too much. I'm sorry, I'm filming with my cell phone, and I'm not really good at that, but alright. Yeah, so it's full of vintage stuff, but it's not like that obvious, but you know, it's there. And I liked, oh my god, I like to recycle, and I like to preserve things, special things. And so this journal was like, you know, I don't know how to say that in English. I mean, yeah, when you want to say something, you know, really kind of emotional, but then it's different when you don't speak in your own language. My tongue is going to be knotted very soon. Anyway, preservation of moments, of memories, that's the theme that goes throughout the whole collection of these fabric covered journals that I made. But I will stop here because otherwise it would be just too long, the video I mean. So I'll stop here and I will be right back with another journal. So stay tuned.